Welcome to Ecclesia Principles, a biblical strategy for believers to engage in God's design for government with Ray Eppard.
Hello, glad you could join us again today. This week we're looking at the jurisdiction of church government. That's the fourth jurisdiction that God established. First, self-government, family government, civil government, and church government. Now, with this, today we're going to look at this a little bit different because I'm going to focus especially on part of the First Amendment of our Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Let's go ahead and read our text again. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities or the governing jurisdictions, for there is no authority or jurisdiction except from God, and the authorities or jurisdictions that exist are appointed by God. Now, with this, how does this apply? Because the whole thing with Ecclesia Principles, that's the name of our podcast here, is Ecclesia Principles, which basically means we look at the principles of the Word of God and apply them to government. So how does the principle of the jurisdiction of the church apply to our governmental nation? Now, with this, we've talked about it from the thing of, that wall of separation, because each individual is accountable to God. Now, I especially want to look at the phrasing of the First Amendment, where it talks about shall not prohibit the free exercise thereof, talking about religion. It doesn't prohibit the free exercise thereof, because at that point, you see, let's just face reality. Religion is one of those things that is like your nose. Everybody's got one, and they all look a little different. And from that standpoint, you can take people that are in the same faith, same denomination, even within the same local church, and they're still going to see things differently. They're still going to have different views, different opinions. And at that point, some of those things are the natural result of God dealing with individuals on certain things, because we're not all in the same place in life. Our background is not the same. How we got to this moment is not the same. And so with that, God, if you would, truth, I've heard this illustration a number of times. I don't know who I heard it from first, but truth is very much like a mountain. And you can go up that mountain from many different sides. Now, the thing of it is, at that point, Jesus is still the way to the Father on that mountain, if it's truth. But with this, our path of getting there is sometimes different. What God deals with us about, He'll deal with us based on where we are and where we're coming from and what we need to continue to make progress. So with that, there are times that we see things a little differently. And in all honesty, I'm not saying that either is wrong. You see, if I'm coming up one side of the mountain and you're coming up the other side, our views are entirely different. Doesn't make either one wrong. The thing of it is we have to find a place where those go together. Now, at that point, I'm really not dealing with opinions, I'm dealing with truth. I see certain truths differently than you see them. You haven't been on this side of the mountain. I haven't been on your side of the mountain. But the truth of the Word of God, we can kind of come at it in different ways. You see, that's one reason, if you've been a Christian for very long at all, there are scriptures that you saw them, you thought you understood them, and then a few years later you're reading it again and you see something, oh wow, this is even more beyond what I had originally saw, and I thought I knew it. Well, that's one reason you don't prohibit the free exercise thereof, is because especially our walk with God is something that we go from faith to faith. We go from glory to glory. It is something that we make progress in. It is a walk. We're having to walk it out. And so the only real parameter on that is, and this is the task of civil government, the protecting of other people's rights. In, to use an extreme case, if somebody's wanting to do human sacrifice, no, you're taking somebody else's life. That's not permissible. But beyond that, beyond the imposing of things on other people and taking away from them their rights, civil government is not to prohibit the free exercise of faith. God bless you. Join us again tomorrow.
You've been listening to Ecclesia Principles with Ray Eppard. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook on our Ray Eppard pages. This program was brought to you by Victory Worship Center and World Outreach. Services Sunday 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, 200 Hammond Lane, Stanton, Virginia.